Hey, One Step Closer family. What?
I never heard you say that, so it's different. You want to try it again?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, One Step Closer family.
Welcome once again to another video. So we're going to start this journey. Today we'll be discussing about how it all started, the symptoms I had prior to finding out I had cancer, and things that I have avoided, and how I was able to actually get to the doctor thanks to my wonderful family. Because if it wasn't for them, I probably would have never gone to the doctor.
And we probably still wouldn't know.
Yeah, that's true. So here we go.
One Step Closer, Christian Life.
To begin, I can share more of my story and how things, like, from the beginning, right? So, I started my period. By the way, okay, well, where do we start? We went straight to the period talk. Well, yeah,
We should probably
should
probably give a warning before we go into this.
Okay, that is okay. Sure, why not? So, guys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, this will be a very girly talk. No, honestly, I don't mind if anybody watches it. I mean, it's a body, you know, and I think that's one of the reasons why people are really worried about putting stuff out there, because it does get intimate, and it could be like a delicate topic because it has to do with women reproductive systems, but we have to know, and I want us to know. But yes, this will be a very open video. I'll be sharing a lot of details. I'll make sure to, you know, not be too out there either, but yeah.
That's good.
Wow, babe. I do have a uterus and ovary cancer. I feel like I didn't say that right. Ovarian and uterus cancer.
Uterine cancer. Yeah.
Uterine. Okay. Ovarian and uterine cancer. And so, I mean, you can just imagine and what we're going to talk about after that. So,
Yeah.
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 Like-
Content advisory.
Content. All right. So, going back to my period. Wow. This is gonna be some fun
Oh,
videos. Well, at least it's helping us have the therapy laugh, you know? It's good to laugh.
Yeah, guys. Laughter is
Very
important.
healing. Yeah. Okay, so we're gonna get right to it. Pretty much, I started my period when I was 9 years old. I thought I was 12, and but I found out I was 9. What? That doesn't make sense.
What she's trying to say is that she remembered it starting when she was 12, but she has since learned that it actually started a little bit sooner than that.
What he said. You know, this works out pretty good. He translates my crazy language speaking abilities into something that makes sense. So yeah, so I was 9 years old. I remember my parents really scarily took me to the doctor, not the doctor, the nurses, and they asked them, please, could you check on my daughter? She's really young. We never heard of this happening to a person this young. I mean, we're talking about, you know, like early 2000s. So at that time it wasn't that normal, I guess. Now I hear more often that little girls are having their periods at such a young age. But so at that time it was like, well, the nurses, everybody said, no, don't worry. My parents were mostly scared that I won't grow or get taller anymore, which actually I never got taller. but you know, and then the nurses said, don't worry, she'll probably grow some more inches and yada yada yada. Never happened. So anyways, but they were not really scared, but I do appreciate that my parents did thought of that being abnormal. We fast forward all the way to 2009. My grandma passed away. I had a lot of emotional overwhelmness at that time in my life, and so that is why I started bleeding again like crazy. But before this, ever since I started my period, it was never regular. I remember we went to 2 different doctors in Peru, and they were all like, yeah, you know, you just have to, she's just starting her period, she's still young, her body's getting used to this, you know, and we just let it be, and we agreed. We said, okay, that kind of made sense to us at that time, right? We're not doctors, we don't understand that. So we just said, okay. We come to the US 2009, my grandma passes away, I'm going through stressful situations, I bleed like crazy, my mood, everything was just dropped, like completely. I couldn't get up, I didn't go to school, my body was shaky. I went to the bathroom and I felt a huge come out of me. It was a huge blood clot. Until today, like, I can't take that out of my mind because I was so terrified. So we went to the doctor, we checked on that, and the doctor said, yeah, so what's happening is, you know, she has irregular periods, and therefore a lot of the blood is clogged up in you, and so now that you're having it a lot because of emotional stress, it's coming out really heavy, and that's probably what it was, yada yada yada. They said, take birth control pills. And I thought, wow, okay, so that's gonna be the cure for everything I'm going through. So at that time, we did that. My mom, my family, we all decided to try that. I had it for like about a year. I hated it. Mood swings like crazy, felt with nausea. A lot of you that probably have tried birth control pills know what I'm talking about. But it never helped me. I mean, when I was in it, yes, it was regular, and I gained weight, it was just like but once I got out of it, it never really did much to me, and actually it felt like it was making it worse. So I stopped. But then I kept continually, like many times, not having my period, but if any, like I constantly was spotting. So then I started having pads every single day of my life since 2009, and even before that I always needed a pad because I never knew when my period was coming. And I had crazy embarrassing stories that maybe one day I'll share, not today. So, but yeah, so then this whole time I'm wearing pads almost every single day. Having my periods probably once a year really heavily, like in 2014 was the next time that it was like extremely heavy, worse than 2009. To the point that I ended up being in a wheelchair because I lost so much. Who even knows where my hemoglobin was at? Because in 2009 I was already told that I lost half of my blood, and how, you know, it was crazy, how, you know, God saved my life because I went to them right on time, and yada yada yada. I took iron pills, whatever they gave me, and I ended up being good. But in 2014 they were even scared of taking my blood out because I had no energy. I couldn't feed myself. I remember just carrying the spoon with anything on it was just like my hand would drop because I had no energy. Chewing my food was like running a marathon. My brother was right there with me to help me, so I'm really thankful for him. We didn't know at that time what was going on. And again, and before this, in 2014, I had gone to 2 other doctors again, one here and one in Peru. A gynecologist here and a gynecologist in Peru. And again, both of them had told me, just take birth control pills. Like, I heard birth control pills so many times that I was getting irritated at it, because in my head I'm like, I've tried that, nothing helped, like it's not working. And so in 2014, I meet a missionary doctor because I was here as an immigrant. I didn't have insurance or nothing. So I talked to a missionary doctor. He gave me a pill. Do you remember? We don't remember what it was called. I know at that time you did. But anyway, so that helped me a lot with stopping my bleeding. Like, stop the bleeding. And then just had a lot of electrolytes. At that time I did a lot of Gatorade. I wouldn't recommend it now, but at that time that's what was helping me. I remember my friends would bring me like packages of Gatorade, and that helped me so much to gain energy. And slowly but surely, I think about 2 weeks or a little over 2 weeks, I was finally able to get out of the wheelchair and walk. And like I said, so today I don't know how low my hemoglobin must have been for me to be that weak, because ever since then, well, now you're gonna hear more crazy stories, but that was the first time I had experienced being, you know, that unable to do things. So, after that, I think it was 2 years after, I bled again. I'm telling you, it was like peeing blood. I would get in the bathroom, bleed like crazy, put my pad on, get out of the bathroom, bleed like crazy, to such a point that it was pretty much getting like all over I was wearing leggings underneath my skirts at that time, all over my leggings, and I'm so thankful for that, because the skirt would help me to cover all that was happening inside, and of course the black leggings would be better to visualize what's going on, but I could feel it. I could see the stains that was making the blood that was coming out of me, you know. Does that make sense? I feel making English. Anyways.
It's making sense.
Okay.
They get the picture.
They get the picture, okay. I don't need to describe it. No. But yeah, it was really bad. So I would come out of the bathroom and right away bleed like crazy all over my leggings, get in again, change again, and realize it's coming, so why even get out of the bathroom at this point, and stay in the bathroom 40 minutes just bleeding here and there. It wasn't like I was like peeing the whole time sometimes, but like, you know, it would just stop and then wait a little bit, or like I could feel that I had more coming. So, and it was after that day, I remember I got out of the stairs. This is in Lake Michigan College, here where I lived. And as I was getting out of the stairs after experiencing that, and I didn't go to my classes, I went straight to this missionary doctor's, and he helped me. He explained to me that it was the first time I've ever gotten somebody actually explain to me what's really happening, which is, you know, he said what's happening is there is a layer in your uterus that, you know, and because you don't always bleed, it keeps accumulating. I was like, wow, okay, that makes sense. He's like, so it's good that you're bleeding it out. That's what I was told. You know, it's good that everything is coming out because we need that layer to go down, because crazy things can happen in the future. I didn't know one of those crazy things could be having cancer. Nobody had told me that. But anyway, so I'm like, okay, wow, so this is, I guess, good. But, you know, he did stop it because I was weak enough. And so anyways, so after that experience, 2 years later, I bled again at my work. Oh my goodness, I was working at a restaurant. Like I said, maybe one day I'll share my crazy stories, but it was bad. I remember driving to my house. Got to my house, my whole driver's seat. What? Driver's seat. My whole driver's seat was like packed, soaked with blood. Got into my bathtub and just, so you can just imagine, I knew something was not okay. You know, this was not normal. I went to the doctor again and again. Hey, it looks like you just need birth control pills. And I remember at that time, I spoke up more and I said, please do not mention birth control pills anymore. I heard it over and over. I need to get to the root of this because this is not normal. Anyways, I went to another doctor in Peru again. Did an ultrasound. All they said is, wow, this looks so weird. It looks like did you have an abortion? And in my head, I'm like it looks like they just cared more about the drama with my situation than what's going on here. And later I found out that some people that have abortion or have a miscarriage, like they create a thicker lining, and sometimes people can think, okay, you just had this or that. But no, in my case, that was not it. But, you know, they seemed to believe what they thought it was, so they just told me, yeah, no, it looks like you just need to better balance your hormone, but they wouldn't do a hormone test or any hormone panel. So anyways, but I did like that they did send me to a hormone doctor. They said, what are they called? I forgot what they're called. But they said if you go to a doctor that's specialized in hormones, maybe that's gonna give you more answers to your situation. It does, your reproductive organs does look a little different, yada yada yada. And I'm like, okay, if you know that it looked different, why, you know? Anyway, so so by this point, I was also just giving up on going to them because every time I would hear the same thing. So here we are, 2 years after that. So we have 2009, 2014, the big one, and then 2017, and then now, 2 years later, 2020. 2019 and 2020, I had 2 flare-ups, but that was after I would eat. If my diet was really poor, I could see a difference. I started eating out a lot in 2020, 2019. I was stressed, a lot of stress. Stress is a killer. Oh my goodness, like I can't stress that enough. And I think we're gonna talk more about that and how that affected us a lot. And I know that was one thing that affected me and that caused all this. And I was addicted at one point to mint because I was too overwhelmed between 2018, 2020. I was too overwhelmed, and especially 2019 and 20, and 18 and 19. And that I was eating mint. What are the mints that I was addicted?
Like
Altoids.
Altoids. Yeah.
I loved them. I have so many.
She's shown me literal boxes full of the tins. She's like, yeah, I would eat like 2 of these tins a day or more.
It was bad.
How many was it?
I don't even. It was a lot. I would get packages and have them all at once. And then when I tried to quit, I went to Halls or like the cough drops.
Yeah.
And I would have bags of them and just, it was bad. So
Did you ever have withdrawal symptoms?
Yeah, like my body would shake towards the
Whoa.
end. I would start shaking and I'd be like, okay, that's when actually I stopped.
Don't do Altoids, guys.
Don't do it. It's bad. So I know
who knew
that.
those are literally like drugs.
Right.
It makes so much sense with some of what we've learned since then, huh?
Yeah, it does. And I know that's definitely something that contributed to my situation. I was addicted for about 4 months or so. So it wasn't like a year, but even that. And the thing is, my body was already not used to taking that much sugar, which is another thing in itself that I'm finding out more. Because apparently in the last place that I went to, they said that, yeah, my body can't take it, and because I'm not taking good healthy sugars, there is an imbalance in my hormones. Anyways, we're still investigating that a little more. So yeah, so then after that and a bunch of stress, and my cycles continued to be completely irregular, bleeding a lot, yada yada yada, blah 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 blah. Right, we get married. Fast forwarding to that, and
We were already pretty much up to that point.
really,
We got to 2020.
that's true.
Yeah. So in October 2020, we got married.
Yeah.
And well, it didn't take me long to realize that something was not right.
Yeah.
I remember you didn't really want to admit that it was serious. You just thought, it's just, this is how it's always been for me.
Yeah. At that point, I had given up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's like, I'm not an expert, but I'm pretty sure this is not normal for you to spend literally all day in the bathroom because you're bleeding
Yeah.
for weeks at a time. It started in probably end of November. It really started
End of
bad, or end of October. Yeah.
Because it was, when you get married, also you experience more intimacy, right? And maybe you know that.
Usually that's how it goes.
No, but because because now we're married, we're more intimate, I think that's the other red flag for me too, because I do have traumas from being sexually abused, which we knew that was one of the things that we had to work with and work towards, but then I realized that it was more than just that when that happened, and I realized, man, like, could it really be this painful? Is it normal? I had never looked into that, and so when we went online looking for answers, I was seeing that it's really abnormal, that it's that
Going online for answers.
I know. At first, my first original doctor that I believed so much was Google. Honestly,
Oh,
though.
man.
But
It helped us
did
in some
help.
ways. It helped us in some ways, but the things that we found online. Oh man.
Yeah.
There are some things that you should never Google.
Yep. that there are some things that could help.
Yeah.
A little bit of everything, like life.
Just thinking about what our search history looks like now.
I know, it was some weird stuff.
Thanks, baby.
I know. So anyways, no, but that's what we were realizing, right, baby? Because it was affecting us a lot. So then, yeah, so after that, I started bleeding, like, towards the end of October. My parents came. We were so excited. And, you know, which everything worked out for a reason. That in itself is a testimony. My parents were supposed to be there for our wedding in October. But because of quarantine and borders closing and all that, they didn't make it until the beginning of November. So, yeah. So they came. And I was still bleeding, and it got really strong when my brother was proposing to his girlfriend. I remember that day, oh my goodness, it was bad. And then 2 days after, my brother was starting to like move and, you know, get his life going too. We helped him out. And I remember that's when my brother, my mom, and we talked, and I started thinking, your mom brought it up, saying, because she kept wondering why. The thing is, we seemed like we were isolating ourselves so much. Remember, our friends were wanting to hang out with us, everybody, and almost every weekend was like, Yearling is not feeling well, or, you know, we're not, because I was starting to feel pain and just, and so I felt bad because I know he loves hanging out with people. I like it too, but it takes me a little more. But this time it was health reasons, and it's like, we just got married. People want to, you know, we wanted to experience what it was like. But yeah, it was really sad. So, and that's when, you know, my brother and, his mom said, you know, what's going on? I am sensing that something is not okay. So then his mom gave us the idea, you know, maybe it could be endometriosis. Remember? And I was like, wow, like, and it was such an amazing support at that time for me, because she investigated things for me and all of it, and I was like, wow, that makes sense. And then I remembered I had a client, I'm a case manager, and I had a client that had the same thing, and, you know, she had to get a surgery, so I thought, oh my goodness, I may have to get a surgery for this. And then we talked.
I remember that.
I was so scared.
You were crying.
I was, in the car when my brother and my mom were there. I was crying. They were crying too. We were so scared for a simple surgery. Well, so surgeries are not simple, but you know, it's like compared to what we're dealing now, it's like, wow. So, but, and then also we had looked that there's a possibility that I may not be able to have kids. Oh, which is another thing too, because when I was younger, one of my doctor's visits, I was told already that, you know, the doctor didn't think I could have kids because of how my cycles were and all that stuff. And I remember that was really, really tough for me. And so, and after that, you know, I had mentioned it to you too, way before even before we started courting, because I wanted you to know, you know, who you were gonna be with. And so, but no, that was really hard for me at that time. And especially after getting married, it became a lot harder. That's another video in itself. But infertility, oh mercy. But, so then here we are talking about endometriosis, crying because I may have a surgery. I don't have insurance. And we are wondering, and at that time we were already married, so you and I would discuss, and it's like, oh man, what do we do? Who do we go to? Because I remember even for my client, they looked at her ultrasound and everything, and the doctor was so sure, pretty much 100% sure that she had no endometriosis. That was just all in her mind, and that maybe it's just a pain that will go away eventually. And my client had to be really insistent to say, nope, I think that's what it is. Please just check, because the other way to check it too is through the surgery. And so anyway, so that's how they found out about it. So I thought, like, the same thing's gonna happen with me. The doctors are gonna tell me I have nothing, and they're gonna look at everything. I mean, I had already ultrasounds and they said nothing, so I was really just, nothing's gonna happen, you know. So weeks later, we went to the doctor.
Middle of November, right?
Yeah, middle of November. My mom and Nathan told me, this, you're still bleeding, you're getting weaker, we need to go to the doctor.
She still didn't want to go.
And no, I didn't.
She was convinced that they were just going to tell her to take birth control pills again, and that there was no point in going. But we insisted.
And the reason why I accepted too is because we were gonna go to the missionary doctor, which he was more towards giving me the pill that would stop the bleeding. Remember?
Yeah.
So we did that. Took the pills, stopped the bleeding, but this time it didn't stop it completely because I think 2 days after I stopped taking the pills, it came back again. Remember?
Yeah.
And it was more intense.
Mm-hmm.
So I lost so much of my energy. I remember? Again, to the point that I couldn't walk as well anymore.
We actually got a wheelchair. Was it now? Not yet.
Not yet. He's so sweet. He took me on a wagon because I couldn't move and I was crying because I love being, like, always being on the go. And I love moving around. So for me, that was torture.
Yeah.
Especially because...
Stuck inside.
Yeah, all day. So it was depressing. It was really depressing at that time for me. And so he came and got the wagon ready, put some blankets on, and took me on a romantic Star Moon walk. So that was our story, and that in itself was tough. I mean, like we said, we were just married. We were excited, and you know, in a point for every girl, it's like that's a dream. Not that it's I don't know. You know what I mean? It's like, wow, you know, I'm where I always dreamed to be, and I'm a wife. But having to not be able to do a lot of that stuff, it was insane.
Yeah.
So then I think we waited a week, but this time the pain was getting to me. I had intense pain on my right side of my ovary. I didn't know what it was at that time. I was just complaining, remember? It hurts me. But at the same time, I wouldn't tell them at first because I didn't see a point. I started telling them when I couldn't move.
Yeah, this girl. I mean, I think you would try to hide the fact that you'd been shot. And just keep going. She's crazy, but she's awesome, and I admire her strength.
Oh,
Sometimes I wish that she would be more upfront with stuff like that, though.
baby. I've learned.
You have.
Yeah. Now I would say any little thing. Guys, this is what's going on. Please be ready for anything.
I wish it hadn't taken this to teach you that, though.
So yeah, it was hurting me one time to the point that I didn't want to go anywhere. And that was not of me. That's when my mom immediately just, took more knowledge into what's going on. So guys, we're just gonna end it more at this note where, I lost my strength. It was really tough. Couldn't move, nothing, all over again. You had to cook, you had to feed me, and all that. And
which means mostly I went out and I got fast food and brought it home to her.
that's true, but
So.
I appreciated it. You did everything you could.
I feel really bad about that now because I realized that was probably doing more harm than good.
We didn't know any better, baby. We really didn't. At that time, yeah. And it was depressing too, I think, for you, like, because, you had to see me like that and not knowing what to do. It's like, I could see it all over your face, just walking around trying to figure out what do I do. So, on the next video, we will talk more about how I went to the doctor and how we found out that there was something, and move on from there. So much to share, but yeah, guys, thank you for following us on this journey, and hopefully we will also be sharing some recipes that we've learned that has been a blessing to us.
They're much better than fast food.
For sure, it's been a blessing.
No, we'll see you next time, guys.
Blessing.
Oh, babe.
If you're not yet part of the One Step Closer family, I invite you to join us. Just subscribe down below and click on the notification bell so you can be notified every time we upload a video. Blessings.